G'day everyone, welcome back to another instalment at the happenings at the Daylesford Railway. Right here next to me is our Leyland, our oldest rail motor in our collection. So coming up, we'll have Barry having a talk about it, let us know where we're at, and what the future may look like for our Leyland. We've got a couple of things to touch base on. The year wrapping up and the new year looking forward. So let's get into it. Our rail motor trailer 263 RM paired up and got out and about recently for a charter and our members' Christmas party. With our 2 road runarounds now available at Daylesford and Bellardo, we will see 200 MT out and about more often in the coming months. After a slight mechanical hiccup with 32 RM, it's now back up and running. Here we have a bit of video footage of its test run, just making sure all was well. Sure enough, it passed with flying colours. restoration on our workman sleeper 403 is still motoring along, and the team involved are very happy with the progress so far. Straight after Christmas break, it'll be onto the cladding and the internal fix out. At the pace we are currently working at, it is hoped that the 403 will be completed by the end of February next year.
Yes, to do. Marking these wires. Next to here. My name's Barry Fell. I've been a member and volunteer here at the Daylesford Railway for the past 40 years. But that's really inconsequential compared to this, which is double-ended Leyland railmotor 53RM, which will be celebrating its centenary in 2026. So, a brief history. There were 4 of these vehicles built by the Victorian Railways, all in service in 1926, 51 to 54RM. They were powered by a 100 horsepower 6-cylinder Leyland petrol engine, driving by a Healy-Shaw clutch onto a 4-speed manual crash box to reversing axle drives on the drive bogie. They ran all over Victoria when they entered service in that 1926 period through to 1954 when they were all taken out for service. Indeed, 70 years ago this year, 53 ran the last passenger service between Yamurka and Pacola in the Golden Valley when it was then withdrawn from service. Upon that, it was sold to a sawmill down at Barongarook, just a stone's throw from the narrow gauge to Beach Forest, where it was used as a mill hand's bunkhouse up until the early 1980s, when the railway made aware of it. We purchased it, transported it to Daylesford in 1983. That stage is sat on the ground for quite some time until some very temporary freight bogies were purchased for it, a subframe built on it so the frame wouldn't actually bend, and since then a fair bit of work's been done to it. It's got a brand new roof, it's had a fair bit of the cant rails replaced, a lot of framework, had new driver's cabs made, and new external cladding fitted, which is how you see it now. So what are our plans for 53? We really would like to get it back in service for its centenary. But there's a unique challenge with 53 that no other preservation project in Australia has ever faced. And that unique challenge is what you see is what you get. Every single piece of equipment that either made it go or stop was scrapped in 1954. So there's no wheels, no axles, no bogies, no engine, no brake gear, no reversing axle drives, no control equipment. It all has to be remanufactured. And plainly, for a volunteer group like us, that's way beyond our capability. And indeed, that's beyond the capability of any preservation group here in Australia. So the only way to get that done is to go outside to other engineering works to get them manufactured. We can do it. We have all the plans to the Leylands. We have all the drawings, all the correspondence from how things were made to improve throughout their life, like when the non-drive bogie was replaced by a different one when the wheels kept falling off, and that was a bit of an issue. But all that kind of thing is done. We've got the plans. And we've actually been to some engineering firms and got some really good rough order of magnitude pricing on the work. And that price is $600,000. That's a lot of money. So why do we want to get 53 going? Well, it's an important vehicle historically. It's the last remaining example of the 23 wooden rail motors built by the Victorian Railways from 1922 to 1926. The 4 double-enders and the 19 single-ended AEC 4-wheel rail motors, which unfortunately it would appear none of the AECs have survived into the 2020s. However, if there's anyone out there who knows where an AEC is, we'd really like to hear from you. So from that perspective, it's the last of its type still in existence. The second thing is, these vehicles supplied the daily passenger, mail, postal and parcel service to over 400 small and large Victorian communities throughout their service life. Indeed, these things ran from Matawa to Hopeton, to Mansfield, to Yarrawonga, to Sale, Geelong. Importantly, they actually ran between, well, Bendigo, but really Elmore, where you would change to Kahuna, Wodonga to Tallangatta, and Melbourne to Whittlesea for over 10 years. These were the rostered passenger cars. But they also have a link here, because 90 years ago today, if you wanted to go from Daylesford by train, you got one of these. In fact, we know sister unit to this 52RM was running up here in 1934. So it has a direct link to our railway here. So it's really important. Third thing, it tells a story, a very unique story which we can tell here. Right next to me here is 7RM, the last remaining 102 horsepower Walker rail car. These are the units that replaced the double-enders. Indeed, in 1949, one day you would have gone to Tallangatta to go to Wodonga, you'd have got one of these. The next day when you rocked up to do the train, it was one of these, being the 102 horsepower Walker. So it's a direct story we can tell from that one to this one, the evolution of what the Victorian Railways are trying to do to improve the branch line services. As an accredited museum, that's incredibly important to be able to tell that story, because that's the story of the people they served and the communities and things like that. It's also technologically important. It's the first internally combustion engine powered double-ended vehicle on the Victorian Railways. Because of the success of these and their utility not having to be turned on a table or on a triangle, when they went to get the next railmotor, they decided to choose the petrol electric ones from EMD, or EMC at the time, which became the DERMs when they got repowered in the 1950s. Because of the success of those, when the Victorian Railways came to order their first mainline diesel, the B class, they asked General Motors to say, hey, I know you haven't got a double-ended design, but could you actually do one for us? Because we really find that very, very utilitarian to actually assist our operations with our previous rail motors, which they did, hence the B class. So really, every double-ended General Motors locomotive in the world's lineage is traced back to double-ended rail motor. So that's the reason why we want to. We know what the price is. How are we going to do it? Well, plainly, we don't have 600 grand just kicking around spare. If we did, 7 here would be running. But 7's a good example. We can restore 7. It's got its wheels, it's complete. We cannot do 53 because of all the bits that are missing. So government grants. Yes, we want to, and we have applied for some government grants in the past, but it's really hard to get high. I want to build an axle and a bogie for my 1926 rail motor to fit most government grant guidelines. We'll still keep going on it, and we might be getting little bits, but it's just hard. The second one is philanthropic organisations. They may be interested in interesting old early 20th century mechanical engineering, which this fits perfectly. They may be interested in social and the communities of rural Victoria in the early 1930s, in the Depression. Their history, we already know that's what these vehicles did. And the other one is sponsorship. If you have a company who can actually make the things that we need or wants to sponsor those components being made, these vehicles along with the AECs have a really unique ability because they were fitted with roof-mounted advertising boards. So we can advertise businesses who may want to contribute to this through appropriately 19, 20, 30 styled advertising boards. And in fact, in the video, there's no good photos of this, but we'll insert a photo of 10RM and AEC at Mornington. Really shows well the advertising board for the local newsagents. So, that's a bit about our most historic vehicle. I hope you learnt a bit. I hope you showed interest in the vehicle. So don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, because it's going to help us with those funky YouTube algorithms, but it'll also let you keep up to date with the progress on this vehicle. And hopefully in 2026, you can come for a ride on it to Bellardo. And then maybe, you never know, one day beyond. Thank you.
Well, what a year it's been at the Daylesford Railway. We've accomplished a few things, a few big things this year, especially the DERM, getting the gearbox overhaul sorted, 2-road re-sleepering, new rail, well, a better rail, and then also getting 2 workman sleepers overhauled. So really good effort. So coming into the next year, it's going to be a big one, especially for operations. We're going to be running the Y class, finally. We're really looking forward to it. We're going to get 200, our trailer, out on the line with the Y class. Also, the NSET put that to good use with the Y class. So if you look at our Facebook page, there's been an update. Keep you in the an update on the services coming up with the Y class, and then hopefully on our website we will also be having an updated timetable for next year. So massive in terms of operations, more services. So looking forward to that. And on the restoration front, well, hopefully we'll get the other 2 workman sleepers completed. After that, the DRC goes in for a bit of a spruce up. And then, and there's a reason I'm sitting here in number 26, our DERM trailer, is that it's also going to be restored. It's going to need some work, mostly cosmetic. It's quite a rigid sound vehicle, but you know, we've got flaking paint here, we've got panels that are water damaged that need to be replaced, seats that need to be reupholstered, outside cladding's going to have to redone, windows. So there is a considerable amount of work that needs doing. But yeah, next year it's going to be another busy one in the workshop, and hopefully we'll be seeing the return of 74RM, which is also quite exciting. Probably later on in the year at this stage in 2025. So a lot going on, and so I'm going to put it to you, our viewers. New Year's resolution. Do you have one? Would it be volunteering at a tourist railway? Well, if it is, please let us know. Even if you're not sure at first, we're not going to have to jump straight into the deep end and sign up. If you want to come here and suss it out, go for a train ride, come see us in the workshop. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. And yeah, hopefully maybe we'll see a couple of new faces in 2025. Alright, that's it for Daylesford Smart Country Railway in 2024. From all of us here, Daylesford members, volunteers, we'd all like to wish you